You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
Sam Bennett, still a scumbag. It's Nick Alberga Jay Rosehill live on location here at Greta Bar YYZ, presented by Bet365. Time for the Wednesday edition of Leafs Morning Take. What's up, Rosie?
That it is. Back in town. I am having a good trip, and I am pumped for tonight. Some changes being made.
I wasn't shocked, or I was shocked, I should say, that we were getting in here to Greta today, and there wasn't people with pitchforks coming for blood with you.
Please. I don't know. It sucks about Stolarz, that is for sure. Yeah. But not surprised that he's not suspended. I don't see how you could break down that video and say that's a suspendable offense, regardless of who it is or his past. They've moved on. They need to move on. They got to focus on the Florida Panthers, not so much Sam Bennett. If you get a chance, put him through the Zamboni doors. I'm all about that. But don't lose your focus on these big cats. They're pissed off. They're going to be coming.
Our Super Chat charity partner this season is Sick Kids. Want to make sure that your question or comment gets on the show? Hit us up with a Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chat will go to Sick Kids, ranked the #1 research-intensive children's hospital in Canada and third in the world. So speaking of Sam Bennett, I'm out last night. I'm out with somebody. At a place like Greta Bar, Arcade Games. Speaking of Sam Bennett, dude, she took me to school with Arcade Games.
Really?
Like, just absolutely dusted me to the point where I was, like, borderline embarrassed. I'm like, can this date just be over at this point? You ever had that in your life?
Yeah, actually, my last first date, we were playing Connect 4, and I couldn't friggin' win. Like, couldn't physically win.
Good.
And she was cooking me, and she holds it over my head every once in a while.
Dude, when I'm talking, like, she cooked me every game.
On Hot Shot?
Everything, dude. Everything. List, skee ball, bubble hockey, like, anything. I feel like she'd set me up for failure that night.
I feel like you put her right out of the mood, and it probably ended with a womp womp.
Yeah. Well, no, I told you. I was like tail tucked between my legs, and I'm like, see you later. There's nothing cooking.
You did? Oh, wow.
No, I didn't.
Your dating life is a question mark that has yet to be solved. I know that much.
It was full Nyes on Seth Jones. Like, that's the feel I had.
That was nice, though. I like that one.
But, hey, to bigger and pressing news, you're getting an alumni jacket. This is huge. A Leafs alumni jacket for Jay Rosehill.
That's too much. No, when I was flying here, I put a little video on Twitter saying, hey, I'm coming here. Come on to Greta Bar, blah, blah, blah. Some guys are like, oh, are you wearing your alumni jacket on the plane? And I was like, no, I've never got one of those, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, we got to rectify that. Someone tagged Brendan Shanahan, I think. And I'm sitting at a store in line to pay for something yesterday. I get an email, Brendan Shanahan. Hey, Jay, gives me a spiel about everyone needs to be part of this. You deserve an alumni jacket. We're going to have the guys reach out to you. So then the alumni reaches out. What are your measurements? We're going to have the inside done with your name and the crest that you last wore and all this stuff. And I'm just like, doesn't this team have bigger things to worry about? But it shows how first class, like when people talk about the organization and say what you want, but the way they do things is like none other that I've seen. They are first class all the way. And there's an example right there. After game 1 of the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, the president is reaching out to an absolute just pigeon like me.
Well, you know, my response would be to Brendan Shanahan, you don't have YouTube, do you? That's
no, I think, well, then that's my other question. Like, how are their tentacles out listening to everything, man? It's wild. And I have a feeling they want to keep me close, but my takes are going to be my takes no matter what kind of jacket they make up.
Tell you this, from previous institutions and places I worked at, there's always somebody watching. It's like Big Brother, dude. Just let me tell you that. But that's great. I thought you were kidding when you said Brendan Shanahan actually emailed you himself. That's kind of cool.
Well, I was reading and I started reading it, and then I got to the bottom and it said Brendan. I was like, oh, and then I saw his tag at the bottom, Brendan Shanahan, and then I looked at the header and I was like, oh God, that's the big dog. And again, like I said, they take time to do that kind of stuff. They legit care, and they take care of their guys even as far down the road as me, who played back in the day for not exactly 1,000 games. So pretty impressive by them. I appreciate it, and maybe I'll rock that baby on this show one day.
Well, is that happening tonight?
No, they're gonna have to make it up. So
you're never getting this thing then. You're never here. So
no, they'll ship it out, I'm sure. They said, can I come next week early and get measured up? I said no. Here's my measurements, but I think the way they handle things, it'll be at my doorstep sooner than later.
Dude, the cloak and dagger on this podcast, people think you live here.
I know.
We've been running for 3 years, and there's a reason why there's a split screen every time we do a podcast, and it's a big event when we're in person, especially here at Greta Bar, right? What a place.
It is nice to do these live. Yeah, I'm an Alberta boy, and we rock this thing from distance, and it works well. But it's good once in a while to come into town. I've been pushing and prodding some of the higher ups, saying we got to do some live stuff here. And I was hearing about that on the way here from the airport, that I can stop doing that now. But the live shows are a blast. The live watch parties are a blast. I am not wanting to leave tomorrow, but we got bigger things first, and that is Game 2 tonight.
In support of Sick Kids, that leads us to our first super chat of today's show. Andrew Tony, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's move on from Bennett and closer to a 2-0 lead. How do you feel about that?
I like that, man.
No.
I like it. No.
Scumbag.
Nah. Okay, cool. If you, think about being the Florida Panthers. Think about being Paul Maurice right now. They are adjusting. They are not happy. They were not pleased with their start. It will be rectified, and they are going to come out guns blazing. And if you're not prepared for that, if you're not ready to not just weather the storm, but have your own pushback and try to relinquish control again and get these guys on their heels, get their heads spinning a little bit, make them uncomfortable, put them in a position that they're not used to being in the playoffs in the last 3 years, and take it from there. But if you're focused on all this other bullshit and we got our who's going to go after them and Ryan Reeves, and you start to do the whole UHL, United Hockey League, Federal League bullshit, they are going to smoke you, and you're going to lose a game because of it. So I hope their focus is on the same shit that it was on Game 1. They need to start like that. They need to get to Bobber, and we need some big boys to elevate and do the same thing we did in Game 1.
Yeah, jokes aside, you need to move on, certainly. And again, if you're looking for a place to watch the game tonight, why not Greta Bar, YYZ? We're throwing another watch party here over at the Leafs Nation, so check it out. You can book your reservations over at Open Table, even at the Greta Bar website. Don't forget nationgear.ca for your Now We Go merch. Flying hot right now, too.
That's right. We were second round is when people start to believe, and I don't know that I think the buzz has picked up a little bit after Game 1. I think if you sweep this home series here and go to Florida with a 2-0 lead, I could really see some of the Leafs fans that may not believe as much as they could. Maybe there's too much scar tissue. Maybe the past has gotten into their heads. But if they get, a nice little lead, which they have right now, and if they double down on it, I think a lot of people are going to be jumping on this bandwagon.
I got the feels walking in today. This is what I sort of defined and broke down a couple weeks back, what I wanted from playoff hockey, dude. Sweating my balls off today. I love that it's hot outside. Like, we don't get this in Toronto where there's playoff hockey. You're getting pumped and amped for Game 2 here of round 2, and it's really hot outside.
Oh, it's beautiful. I've been riding my tangerine bike to and from the hotel.
That was a big shocker. Rosie said he biked in today. That's why I'm like, you're a hot mess.
I had a little layer of film going on the skin, but it feels awesome, man. That's the best part of the year is this part right here. The weather's turning. You're on the patio. The beers are going down good, and the playoffs are rocking. There's no better time than right now. So come on down to Greta and have a little watch party with us tonight. I'm just as excited for this one as I was for Game 1. Yeah. I'm just as hesitant to say, like, what is this going to look like as I was for Game 1. I guess it just doesn't go away. But Joseph Woll, obviously, the big lead story here today. Got a few texts yesterday talking about how jacked you are. How close are you to your playing weight right now? Yeah. Really weird. Yeah. No, I don't know. I was kind of light in my playing days. It's kind of hard to keep it on. What was your playing weight? I was like 209. I remember one day at Leafs camp, I was weighing in, and I had to leave and go to the back of the line because I had to shove 3 water bottles down my waistband because I was 209. I had to try to get up to like 211, 212 to claim that I was a heavy, and I was just kind of lean, and you're burning so many calories doing that type of thing, and now I think I'm about 218, but I don't know. Thanks. Maybe my shirt's just too tight. No, you look great, dude. Well, you had the biceps out yesterday too. Did I? I think people were just, honestly, my opinion. You do look jacked, but I think people were fired up. They wanted somebody to think could beat the wheels off Sam Bennett yesterday. Oh, I'd love to try. What would you say to Sam Bennett right now if you had him on the ice? Oh, I said, you're going to pay for that one, and we're going right now. We're going whether you like it or not, and you try to goad him into it. But the problem is, let's just say they dress Ryan Reeves, for example, which is some people's thought on what they should do. As soon as that lineup card comes out, Paul Maurice is going to go, they got their big boy. Nobody look at him. Nobody touch him. Nobody engage in him. Act like he's not even there. Then Revo's going to go out there and start tugging on everyone like John Scott, Phil Kessel style. Probably take a 5-minute trying to get something going and justify being there. and they'll probably score 2 on the 5-minute power play, and you'll
Yeah.
lose a game in the playoffs in the second round to the Panthers because you're dicking around with retribution and all that. If you can line that prick up, coming up the wall, coming across the middle, by all means, end him with everything that you have. But that's just within the game. You're not going to go out chasing him around, trying to act like this is 90s hockey anymore. It's not.
Yeah.
It'll be a one-way ticket to the ref's arm going up, and you'll pay for it, I promise. So get him if you can. If it happens naturally, any one of you guys can take a run at him. If Domi wants to find a way to scrap him in a scrum or something like that, fine. But as far as, chasing him around and making him do something, they're too smart for that. You'll take a penalty, they'll score on it, and then the whole narrative will be Leafs aren't mature enough to handle this. Leafs haven't been there before. The Panthers are in the Leafs' head again, and they're not ready for this test. All that bullshit. Stay away from it. Do what you did in Game 1.
Yeah, I think that's the best case scenario, is that the Bennett story is not even a thought tonight, right? I think when you look at Game 2, it's just got to be focused on winning Game 2, beating the Florida Panthers once again, playing your game. And I think a lot of the market and city, hopefully you've moved past the whole Sam Bennett thing, no discipline, and onwards you move. Should mention as well, in a few moments, we're going to be joined here by Ray Ferraro, man. I can't wait for his analysis and breakdown.
Yeah, well, he was there, right? So
Yeah.
he was calling the game. He would have some definitely solid insight into the incident, into what the vibe was like, into the momentum games, being between the benches and everything else, is just a great vantage point. So we'll see what it looked like to him, and what he forecasts for Game 2 here. So that's coming up shortly.
At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take, wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review, and don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com as we get set for Game 2, Leafs Panthers here in Toronto. Down live here at Greta Bar YYZ. The following interview upcoming is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers. Get custom ring building, delivered in less than 4 weeks with the Charm Masterpiece program and an unbeatable pricing policy. Charm Diamond Centers is proudly Canadian-owned and operated since 1972 with more than 85 locations across the country through Charm and their sister brands. For more information, go to charmdiamondcenters.com. By the way, I know a bunch of you asking in the chat, Anthony Stolarz not present at the morning skate. Joseph Woll looks like the projected starter here for Game 2.
Yes, he does. I think I said yesterday, I'm not really basing too much off of Game 1 as far as his performance is concerned. I think that he would have, in an ideal world, liked to make a couple of more saves there, but I can't think of a worse situation for a goaltender to go in than to just be, taken by surprise and thrown into that environment. Very difficult for an athlete, especially a goaltender. So I think we'll really rate his performance tonight now that he's had time to prepare and get himself in the right headspace. We know how good he can be when he's at the top of his game, but it's just a matter of, is he going to be at the top of his game tonight? The stage is big, the lights are bright, and it's against a very, very difficult opponent who is going to be trying to rectify some of the things that they've had their shortcomings in Game 1, and I believe that they will come out guns blazing, and everyone needs to be ready, including Joseph Woll. So, I mean, it's nice that this happened, that we have a quote-unquote backup that is, has the potential to steal games like Joseph Woll. Not everybody has that. If they lose their starting goalie, it's nightmare time, it's maybe series over, it's meltdown mode, and that's not the case for the Toronto Maple Leafs, thanks to the depth in goaltending, and we'll see what Woolsey's got tonight.
I believe now we do have today's guests in mere moments getting set for Game 2. And again, that's the big story. Joseph Woll, projected starter. And again, we're one injury away from Matt Murray being a potential bang-up and being in the lineup here. But you just never know what's going to happen in the Stanley Cup playoffs, Rosie. That's the one thing we always talk about, is the luxury for the Maple Leafs and their perspective to have a 1A and 1B in between the pipes. And I think that's a big story tonight, too.
Yeah, I think so. That was the whole talk. Who's the one? Who's the two? Are they going to switch hit? Will they switch hit in the playoffs? I think Stolarz kind of stole the show down the stretch, and then Craig Berube tends to like to have his guy throughout the playoffs, and that's what it's been. Here we are. Guy gets hurt, and you need your second guy waiting in the wings, and luckily he's got a lot of potential to be very good. It's just we don't know what he's going to feel like. He could be a little bit rusty. He hasn't played in a little while. I don't think his confidence is at 100% after being thrown in the way he was and the result that wasn't perfect. But I think with his mind, and I think he's got a lot of mental toughness. I like the way he thinks about things and approaches the game. I think he'll be able to shake that off, get himself into his best starting position, and put himself in a position for success.
All right, let's bring in Ray Ferraro. Ray, thank you so much for doing this. Why don't we start there? Joseph Woll, what's your expectation for tonight?
Well, I mean, he's certainly going to have a little bit more prep time, right? Like most times when a goalie goes in, they they have an idea it's coming, right? Things aren't going very well. The game's stretched out. The goalie in front of them is not having a great night. They probably have start to click the gears a little bit. I might have to go in here, and you're sitting on the bench. You're up. What was it? 3-1 at the time, 4-1 maybe at the time, and all of a sudden your goalie partner's throwing up in a bucket, and you're like, like you're not even thinking of going in, and then you got to go in. And he made a couple good saves early. I thought he looked like a guy that was shell shocked a little bit, like thrust into something that he just wasn't going to be prepared for, and I don't think anybody could be. But look, he was deep in the net a bit. He wasn't very aggressive up. Goalies, we talk about a lot, like to be up on their toes a bit, so they're reactionary and quick, and they have, their movements and pushes are strong. I don't think he had any of that, and I don't know how he would. I mean, that would have been a really tough spot to come into. And today he's got his full day of prep. He got those minutes, right? He got those minutes the other night. It was a little bit of what Florida's about. And heck, you go back to last year, and Stolarz got thrown in a game in Edmonton, the game they lost 8-1. And he looked like he'd never played in the league before in that night. And it was like, it was a no chancer for him. And now he looks like, a completely different guy. I mean, first round in Montreal, Dobish had to go in, right? He wasn't expecting to play, and he did a really good job. Is Jakob Dobish way better than Joseph Woll? I don't think so. So why can't he play a good game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess time will tell where his preparation's at tonight. Obviously, yesterday the talk of the town, Ray, was the Sam Bennett incident and everything that happened with Anthony Stolarz following that, with Sam's history and everything. I think Leafs Nation was in quite had quite their feathers ruffled, without a doubt. But from your vantage point, what did you think of that play? Was it a violent thing? Was it suspendable? Did you even notice it during play?
It's funny you brought the last one up. I didn't really think too much about it. I think it should have been, in retrospect, it should have been a penalty, right? Like when I saw the replay, I'm like, he makes contact, he's in the blue paint. Like that should be a penalty. Yeah. If you look at where the official was, Chris Rooney, he's in position, but he's on the other side. Like, it's not like Rooney's in the wrong place. It's like, what can you see? You can't be anywhere. The only position you could have had a great look at would have been if you were standing right behind the net. And of course, there's no ref ever going to stand there. So I didn't really think much of it. I was kind of pissed at myself that I didn't put together in the broadcast, like in my head, the early shot from Reinhart and the possible connection to this play. When I saw Woll coming into the game, even at that point, guys, my thought was he must be sick.
Yeah.
Like it never clicked to me that it would have been something more. Should have been a penalty, 100%. Suspendable, not even close. His history, this is interesting for me, is that unless you're suspended or fined, there is no history. It's just us watching on somebody putting a compilation of plays you don't like to see, or if you're the Marchand play, I think it was Matthew Nye's play, like none of them are on his record. So it doesn't matter if you're pissed off about the way he plays. If it's not on the record, they can only look at the individual play. And I think that somehow got lost in all the noise.
Oh,
yesterday.
It really did. I mean, I was adamant that, it wasn't a violent play. He kind of cruised through Stoli and he had the puck, was taken to the net. Sure, he made some contact, but his elbow stayed where it was. I thought it was a nothing burger of play as far as violence.
Jay, I got to ask you something. How many times did you run into somebody on the ice and then you go back to the bench and in the discussion with the guys you're on the ice with, like about the shift, you go, yeah, what happened there? Mm-hmm. Like you don't, for me anyway, I was like, I don't even know what happened there. Like, they're like, you hit him right in the nose with your stick, or I got hit in the face. The guy doesn't even know.
Yeah.
You're just in the midst of the play, and it's way easier when we're sitting on our couch and we got a replay and sometimes things happen. And I'm convinced, generally speaking, there's a lot of times there's a high sticking penalty, and they're like, why am I getting a penalty? You're like, well, you hit him right. The ref tells him there was one last night to Chychrun. You hit him right in the face. He had no idea.
Yeah. And I mean, the action itself, I understand what happened to Stolarz was kind of horrific. I mean, throwing up and stretcher, hospital, all that. But that's not really indicative of the play that happened as far as what you would expect. No one in the world would look at that bump on Stolarz and think it would lead to that. At the same time, as you mentioned, the guy's history, whether he's suspended or not, you don't factor that in. You look at the play, and then if you say, okay, this is suspendable, now let's figure out how many games we're going to give him. Then you go to the history and whatnot. But can you imagine them breaking down that little play in the playoffs of him kind of going to the net and bumping into Stolarz and saying this is a suspension to one of the best players on the best team in the playoffs? Like, how would they possibly justify it? It was crazy how many people wanted his head on a stake.
And then if you go through the game, do you know, there were at least 3 hits that I can remember offhand that I thought like they were good, hard hits. And when you look in the replay, you're like, oh yeah, there was head contact there too. Like, they're not suspendable. They're not penalties. But in each case, if you elevate your scrutiny on every play, it really starts to, you can see where it gets away. Like before the Nyes goal, is that not, again, I didn't even think of it in the time. Is that not that should probably have been a trip on Reinhart at the net. But in the course of the play, I didn't even think once about it. I was like, oh, he crashed into the net, and oh, wait a minute, Florida's got 4 guys on the ice. Like, that's what I'm thinking, and I'm standing right between the benches. I didn't, at no time did I go, that 100% was a missed call. It's easy in retrospect when it's over, not at the time.
Ray, I said this yesterday. For me, and I put this out on X, it's more about the inconsistency. Was that call on Domi one of the worst calls you've seen, period, in watching and playing hockey?
I'm not real sure. So our guys ran the highlights. So like there's a penalty. They're looking for it in the tape room. And so they run the play. The guys in the tape room thought it was right at the blue line on the entry. And so I'm saying on the air, because you don't have time to discuss it, I'm like, no, it's further than that. Because I knew it had to be at the end of the play. I didn't see it. But I'm like, it had to be there at the end of the play. And then it wasn't there at the end of the play. Like, I don't even know if he made a cross check. It was more like I don't know, like kind of ran into, or he ran into him. Of course he did, but he kind of shoved him. Like, if that was a cross check, there would have been 74 power plays in the game on whatever day it was, Monday. Like that was not a strong start. That was the same start that the Panthers had. Put it that way.
Yeah, frustrating. I think that the consistency is the big thing. You're going to let X go, and then you're going to call Y. I don't think people can quite figure it out. I sympathize with referees. It's a difficult job. But on to positive things, William Nylander in Game 1. I mean, we've been talking for a while that one of these big boys needs to step up and have a monster game and like elevate to the point where you are the reason you got over the hump and won a game in the playoffs. That was William Nylander in Game 1. What'd you think of his performance?
Game 6 and Game 1, right?
Yeah.
It's back-to-back 2-goal games. And see, I'm a Nylander fan, and one of the reasons is he looks impervious to noise. Like, whatever's going on, he's going to play the way that he thinks is the best way to play a certain situation. And it's not for everybody. Like, there's some guys who wish he would use his body more, and he would check a little more firmly. And man, everybody's looking for the perfect player, and they can keep looking, and there's about 6 of them in the league. Like, I love, one of my favorite players is one of Nylander's buddies, and that's David Pastrnak. And I'm like, those guys, there are times when you're like, God, I wish he would have, gone through the guy's hands there a little bit. You're like, yeah, so what? They can do things that other people can't. When Nylander gets one, it feels like most guys that score, they get charged a bit. The first goal was just, throw it through the screen and get it to the net. And the second one to elevate the puck, to down on his knee, to get it up over Bobrovsky's glove. Those are scorers' goals, right? Most guys fire that right into the Panthers' crest, or they hit him right in the arm. And Nylander, like I said, I'm a big fan. I think he's the type of player if the Leafs can get further on, he will be thought of as a big game performer. Like, I think he's got that type of makeup. On both of those goals, though, I'm going to say, I don't think he got a point on either of them, but Tavares created both of those goals. He's jammed right up on Bobrovsky's crease for the first one. The second one, he drives through, and Nico Sturm, he takes Sturm and runs him into, I think it's Schmidt. And then that opens up that space for Nylander. Not much on the score sheet on those plays, but Tavares I thought he was really strong as well.
So that's two of the core four, and I don't want to break a broken record. I think us three would all agree. It's got to be Poppy time. It's got to be Marner time. I know this is going to be a difficult game. I expect Florida to have their best in this one, but do you see it that way as well?
Yeah, I thought Matthews was pretty good in the first game. The one thing I noticed watching him live, because you don't see it on TV quite so much, is I seem to remember him leading the rush out of the zone more frequently. I don't know if it's a stylistic change or a health change or a whatever change, but now he seems to be behind the play a little bit more frequently, and that's just not how I think of him. I think of him like out in the space, move the puck wide, open up, find the open spot. Now he gets to shoot it. Now he's back, and there is no shot. And I'm not really, I'm not really sure where that has all evolved from, but it doesn't look the same to me. That said, I thought he was really good in the first game. I thought Marner was okay, made a sweet little pass there when, to start the play that Nylander fed ahead. And they scored. I think it was the Riley goal. That was a really good play. It was Marner that started defensively. I thought he was okay. Marner gets a pass in the first game. Hell, they won, so it doesn't particularly matter. Secondly, I mean, that's a pretty big day in your life, and there's lots going on, and you might have energy, but you don't have gas, and that's what it looked like to me. And man, I've got 4 kids, and those days are the frickin' best of your life, and then when the adrenaline goes, you're like, oh boy, I got no gas pushing me along here. And my kids were not born the ones that were born when I was playing, they were in the summer. I had all kinds of time.
Yeah,
the other guys, I was just older, so I had nothing to do anyway.
Mine were born in the off season too, and I can't imagine have to play to a level that Mitch Marner's expected to play during those times. No. But he's gonna have to find a way as a professional. Yep. I think that the Leafs might have got the Panthers by surprise in game 1. Caught them maybe not being totally prepared. I really think that Paul Maurice is going to rectify that. What do you think we're going to see out of the Panthers at the drop of the puck tonight?
I'm with you. I thought they were brutal to start the game. I said a few times in our broadcast, very uncharacteristic mistakes by Florida. They don't play a perfect game, but the mistakes they made, they lost a puck battle behind the net on the first goal. Pacioretty won that puck that went around to Nylander. Florida usually squares those off. They don't get beat very much on that. The coverage mistake on the Nylander second goal. That generally doesn't happen to Florida. The game-winning goal, they got 4 guys on the ice. Somebody screwed up a change. And, of course, Balinskis comes on late, and so it's probably him, who won't be in the lineup tonight anyway because Ekblad is back. All those things kind of added up to me to not a great Florida game. The last 10 or 12 minutes, though, that looked a little more like the Panthers. And they were their aggression with the puck, their aggression on the forecheck really caused some problems. And that'll be the chore through this series is, can you handle that when Florida kicks it up a gear? Can the Leafs handle that? I guess the other part is the top end of Toronto's lineup was better than the top end of Florida's, and that's going to have to be, I think, the recipe for them to win. It's the top end of their lineup has to be better because I don't think their bottom end can outplay Florida's. I don't think Toronto has a line that's going to outplay Lundell. I think that's a really good line. So the top end better outplay their top end.
Yeah, and I think from the Florida perspective, they had to be happy that none of the conversation after game one was about the fact they lost that game. It was about Bennett. It was about Stolarz. Just to circle back to Rapp, do you think we're going to see any fallout from that tonight at all?
No.
There's
no time. There's no, like you can't, no matter how pissed off you are at somebody, you can't lose what you're trying to do, which is to win 3 more games to move forward. Like you just can't. And so there's a time and a place for everything. Now is about today. It's about game 2. For Florida, it's about trying to even the series. They'll tell you, of course, that they haven't lost at home. Like if you steal the first game on the road, great. If not, you try and win the second game. And I mean, clearly the more games you lose, like now your margin gets smaller each time. But as far as I think each game with Florida becomes an individual, like it's individual's thing.
Yeah. And
you better be prepared again for them to be physical, and you better start the same way. Now, you might not, but you better try to start the same way, right? Craig Berube told us before the first game, we had our little individual chat with him, and I thought he said something was really cool. He's like, I want us to take control early. Like, I want us to get and set the tone. I don't want to wait for Florida and see what they're going to play like. Mm-hmm. And I thought the Leafs did that really, really well in the first game.
Ray, there's nobody who breaks down the game quite like you do. Really, really appreciate your time. I know you're a very busy dude. Thanks so much for this.
Thanks a lot. Sorry for not being on time. I missed this. I missed the start button. I had everything done, but I missed the start button.
It's all good.
Next time I got it.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, Razor.
Have a great day, guys.
See you, buddy. You too. There's Ray Ferraro, man. Just breaks. I don't know. He sees the little things that you don't see, like watching as a fan. And obviously, he's got the history playing the game and scoring a lot in his day, but also breaking down. Like, I just love his analysis.
Yeah, it seems to just, I don't know, I like honest takes.
Yeah.
I like, you can't make everyone happy. You look at the chat and people are like, oh, he's stroking off the Panthers. Well, why wouldn't you? They're really friggin' good.
Yeah.
So you can say good things about them. It doesn't mean anything else. He's just giving honest analysis. I like how he's at ice level. Oftentimes you get a real good perspective of the game and the flow and how things are going from that vantage point. And I think he breaks it down great, and it's great to have him and see what he thought. And I think he thought his head's right where I expected it to be.
Yeah.
He's got honest takes and sees it for what it is.
Yeah, that's why, again, I always defer to former players, and that was the consensus around the league, that it was the right situation, the right call. And again, I got to why I felt that way. Obviously, I was being a bit dramatic in the way I handled saying 15 to 20 games for Sam Bennett, but enough's enough. How many times is this going to happen? I just think it's hilarious that Brad Treliving is going to be calling the league, or was calling the league about, hey, suspend this guy. In 2 months, he's going to be calling this guy on July 1. Like, it's crazy how things work out sometimes, and I wonder what type of level will the Maple Leafs get to get a Sam Bennett on their team too, you know?
Well, we'll see. They got to work with what they got right now, and what they got's pretty good. And I don't know how many people picked them to be up 1-0 after this game. They probably thought they'd have to feel it out and do some adjustments and scratch and claw to dig a win out against these guys. But they came out on top. They started the game on time. Their forecheck was more deadly. They were more physical. Like, there were Panthers flying on their ass all night long from a plethora of different Maple Leaf players. It's not what we're used to, but I think we got to wrap our heads around the fact that this team's as suited to play strong teams in playoff style hockey as they ever have been in the past. I don't even think it's close, and you saw that in game 1, but you can't rest on your laurels. It doesn't mean that anything is written in stone by any stretch of the imagination. Like Ray said, you got to reset here and take this as another game. Every game that's the playoffs, you reset and you start fresh. It does not really matter what happened 2 nights before. She's a new start line, and it's fresh here in game 2, and you got to be ready.
That's the beauty of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And now we were just as victim of it in game 1, like just the celebration in Edmonton over winning the first game of round 2 against Vegas. Like, I think you have to compartmentalize and understand that it's a long series. There's going to be pushback. I expect a massive bounce back by the Florida Panthers tonight. But I want to mention as well, your motorhome or travel trailer isn't just for getaways. It's a moneymaker on wheels. Most RVs sit parked in the driveway. With RV Easy, you can rent out your motorhome or travel trailer and earn over $20,000 this year. Founded, owned, and operated by Canadians, RV Easy takes care of everything, including full insurance coverage provided for every rental. And best of all, you choose when to rent and set your own pricing. List your RV for free today at RVEZY.com. That's RVEZY.com. RV Easy. Rent your RV. Make money easy. At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Ray brought up a really good point that really hasn't been talked about leading up at the game too. Aaron Ekblad, how much of an impact does he have coming back to that lineup?
Yeah, I don't think that was talked about very much. Then missing him, it would be like us missing who? Tanev or OEL.
Pretty much.
Like one of our guys that you rely on a lot, and we've seen throughout the season when we go down one of those integral D-men, it leaves kind of a gaping hole back there, and so that'll be filled tonight with Ekblad. Again, that'll be even more difficult for the Leafs to penetrate those tough areas. You're going to have to go to the gritty areas. You're going to have to get hit. You're going to have to get your nose dirty. Everyone needs to wrap their mind around that, and the Panthers are really good at taking away your time and space. I think that was a big part of the power play, being dog shit in game one. They're used to having some sort of space and some time and being able to take a look and scan, and they don't have that, and then it gives them, oh shit, the guy's right on me, and they're good at killing, and you got to wrap your head around the fact that there's not as much time and space, and try to make space, support the puck, get it to a spot where they can't pressure you without exposing some other area of the ice, and that power play's got to get clicking tonight.
Yeah, and I think Ray made the great astute point too. Like when the Panthers are playing their best, they're heavy on the forecheck, they're tough on the forecheck. They make it difficult on the D, and that's the thing I noticed for the good majority of that game, the transition game. How quickly the Leafs are looking to move that puck out of their own end. Naturally, the Panthers are going to make that more difficult, but can the Leafs sustain that forecheck is a big question. You know they're going to come out horny. They're going to be physical. I don't expect anything from the whole Sam Bennett situation. You just can't have it. You're trying to win 4 games in this series. There's no time for retribution. But from the Maple Leafs perspective, just play your game and mirror what you did in Game 1. We talked a lot about preparation, and that's 2 games in a row. The Leafs were prepared for Game 1. They were prepared for Game 2 last series. Let's see it again tonight.
Yeah, big time. You have to be physical. Like whatever the hits were on the score sheet, it doesn't really matter. It's the big hits and the ones that steal momentum, and the ones that turn pucks over, and you're putting Seth Jones on his ass and centering the puck to Matthews for a huge chance. It's those ones that add up, those ones that matter, and I thought they did a great job of it in Game 1. You have to do it again. And like, I have no problem if there's a scrum or something in front of the net and someone gets in Bennett's face, and maybe you can challenge him, maybe whatever, but you can't go out looking for it.
Yeah.
The ref's going to be paying attention to it. The ref's going to understand what happened in Game 1, and they're going to be watching. Is anyone going to act like an idiot and try to get retribution and make this thing into a little bit of a gong show? Your arm's going to go up like nothing. It's an easy call for them. But if you can get in there in the weeds and get in there in the play, in the sense of play, or the BS afterwards or whatever, great. But play your game like you did in Game 1. If it happens, it happens. But you got to be tough on everybody, and you got to get them on their heels, and you got to get them second guessing their preparation, their style, the way they play, and get them into a place that they're not comfortable, which I think they were in Game 1.
Yeah, and I would say it's a good thing that they have Craig Berube as the head coach too, where I think he's going to cement pretty early on in the pregame to guys like Max Domi specifically, where it's like, hey, we didn't like the hit, but like, let's not chase that part. And again, you're a perfect type of person to converse with about that. And I think it's going to be a non-starter to your point. I think there's ways to prove your point to Bennett during the game that are within the rules. Like, you don't have to go seek that fight, seek that big hit or the extracurriculars. I think it comes to you, quite frankly. Like, Bennett's going to be ready to play in this game too.
Oh, yeah, and that he's going to be ready to – who knows what he could do. He
shit.
could dive or, try to draw penalties.
Again.
He's not going to get goaded into doing anything stupid. He's certainly not going to take a penalty when they're chasing him around. And Craig Berube will be on that. I remember him telling me, like, Rosie, like, I'm kicking you in the ass and you're going to throw your leg over, but, like, nothing dumb. I'm not kicking you to go out there and do something silly. And I think players that understand that role need to understand where the game is at, and this is the last thing we need right now is for me to go do something dumb or take a penalty or give momentum to them or start to showcase that we aren't focused anymore and we're looking after the wrong things. I can just see the storyline the next day Maple Leafs were focused on the wrong things. They weren't showing the maturity that maybe the Cats have with their playoff experience, running around. The Florida Panthers are in the Maple Leafs' heads, all that shit. You can avoid that by just sticking to your guns and sticking to what got you success in Game 1.
In Sport of Sick Kids, we have a bunch of super chats to get to. We'll start with Eric Martin. Sorry, Vic, but my hot take of the day, the winner between the Leafs and Panthers in round 2 will move on to win the Stanley Cup. That is a spicy take.
I don't mind it, though. I said I thought they were going to probably face the Cats in the second round. I said if they can get through them, the sky is the limit for this team. I think this right here, what we're looking at, is the biggest test that you could face. The Edmonton Oilers in the finals, or the Dallas Stars, or the Winnipeg Jets, like, fine. I just don't think they're as prepared to play playoff hockey with experience and players and their rats and their grittiness and their coaching and their goalie and their D. I mean, they're really well built for the playoffs, hence their Stanley Cup last time it was handed out, hence being very close to winning a Stanley Cup the time before that. Nobody else in the league can say that. This is the biggest test in the league right now, and the Leafs have got Game 1 wrapped up, and they got to stay focused on the plan.
KPG sends a super chat. Rosie and Nick, like Jim Leahy, vodka in the bottles. I wish that was the case. Straight shooting vodka is insane to me, but no, this is just pretty great Greta water.
That was the old me. I don't think that that flies anymore.
I remember that back in like high school. You bring like a bottle of vodka to a party. It's like, I don't know what I was pursuing on those nights.
I remember being at a friend's house, and we were going to the hockey rink, and there was an Aquafina bottle, thought it was a water, and took a sip and pure vodka. And I learned a lot about that lady that day, but good Lord, she's doing one of these in the stands that night. Some people live differently, but nope, all professional here, Greta water.
We used to hide beer in like my buddy's garden. Like if we drank at his parents' place, we'd go out, pluck a bottle of beer, bring it back in the house. His parents must have known. Like these guys just keep going outside. We're not hacking darts. Like it was just wild times. You get like I don't know. You know what was big back in the day? I don't know if it was for you. Corona. I don't know why it comes full circle in life where Corona as a 17 or 18-year-old is cool. And then you don't drink it again until you're like 40 or 45, I think. It's great beer, but
we didn't have that.
Sponsor us. Like
we used to drink Canadian because that was back in the Canada Kicks Ass days, and everyone was getting a Maple Leaf tattoo and all that shit. It was big in the early 2000s. Canada Kicks Ass was a big slogan. Molson Canadian, all the rest of it. So we were rocking that. But
you ever have a beer called Alberta's Best?
Oh, yeah.
I used to drink that all the time because it's close to my last name.
Alberta Premium is a whiskey that people drink back home if they're slugging it all the time.
I used to call it Alberga's Best.
There you go.
Yeah, no, those are the days, man. But yeah, that's just water, unfortunately. Devin Foyston, thanks so much for the super chat. As much as I want Domi to handle Bennett, he's better off not even trying because Domi will just get a penalty. I think it needs to be Benoit to just crunch him with big hits. But again, getting back to the focus, and you're perfect for this. No need to go out of your way to sort of pursue anything with Bennett. Let the game come to you. And again, from the Maple Leafs perspective, you have drawn out the formula in order to have success against the Florida Panthers. Just see that game plan out again tonight.
Yeah, again, if he's coming down the wall, you hit him as hard as you can. You do not swoop on him. You don't let him off the hook one time. You hit him as hard as you can every opportunity that you get, every single player on the team. I mean, that's got to be the mentality, but that was anyways, regardless of the Stolarz thing. That's the mentality on every single one of their players. I don't think much changes, but yeah, if you go out there trying to do something special to rectify the Stoli thing, it's going to stand out like a sore thumb. The arm's going to go up, and I promise you they'll make you pay on the power play.
At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Again, if you're just tuning in, looks like Joseph Woll will be the starter here for Game 2 of this series. I don't know about you. When we saw that come out, we were on air. Stoli had breakfast with the coach, and it's like, could he play today? I wonder how much of that was politicking, because we see that a lot in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like, I don't know, find out tonight. And Craig Berube's been a master at that in his time.
Yeah, but I think that's just when you get caught up in it yourself. Like they weren't in the hotel and went and knocked on Stoli's door and said, "Okay, Stoli, I know you're all messed up in the head, but we want you to come down into the lobby and smile a bunch, and then that'll get put out in the media." And people like, not a fucking chance, man. The guy's just there. He's just living his life, and he's preparing, and he's doing what he can to get healthy. I had a glimmer of hope that he could play and that it was just precautionary, everything we heard from Game 1. Obviously a little bit more than that, but at least there's that glimmer of hope. If he was completely mangled, sitting at home with the lights off, can't look at a screen, everything's all those different symptoms you can get from a concussion or whatever this is, I don't think we would see him downstairs smiling with the boys. So a good sign that he's not completely mangled, and there's a chance that, I'm holding on to hope that he could play sometime in this series. Maybe game 3, we'll see, but the crease is Joseph Woll's tonight.
Berube confirmed after the morning skate Stolarz will not play tonight, says he is doing good and recovering. The only thing I would add, I want Joseph Woll to play so good you can't put Stolarz back in the net when he's ready. That'd be great.
That could be a story. That could absolutely be a story. It's kind of been a story all year. Who do you play and whose crease is it, and who do you give a little bit extra allegiance to, if anybody? And, like I said at the start of the show, Stoley won the crease. Craig wanted to go with a one guy rather than, Boston last year going, we're going to flip-flop them every single game regardless of what happens. I just think that's a dumb plan, and I'm glad they didn't go with that here at the Maple Leafs. But, yeah, you're right. Now that Woll's in there, if he steals this game and stands on his head and looks poised and confident and phenomenal the way we have seen him, even in the playoffs in his young career, there'd be no reason to switch back to Stoley, especially when, there's that glimmer of, is he 100% healthy? The head thing is always murky waters, and you never know exactly what a guy's going to feel like. So if Woll decides to stand on his head, it'll probably be his crease for a little bit.
Man, I was watching that Oilers Golden Knights game last night, and John Klingberg had himself a game. All I could think about was Yanni Hakanpää has played 2 games as a Maple Leaf, and that's going to be it. Think about that. He signed initially a 2-year contract. Yeah. Then it's now a 1-year contract. He played 2 games as a Leaf. I don't know where the guy is. I guess he's practicing. There's no point in practicing. You're not playing.
Is that considered Robidas Island with Hakanpää?
No, he's around.
He's
He's here. Robidas Island was you just went away and nobody heard from you again. And by the way, I am trying my best to get Lou Lamoriello on this show. I don't know if it's going to happen. He strikes me as the kind of guy that I text. There's going to be no response. Next thing you know, somebody's going to call me and say, delete that number. But
strikes me as a guy that would have trouble running a camera and be frustrated and be very on edge about things. But that'd be great to get him pick his brain a little bit. But yeah, we'll see, man. Again, reset. They got Ekblad back. We got Woll in. There's a couple of caveats to this story that are going to look different. And at puck drop, we're going to find out where everyone's at.
I remember my brother had a friend, and his friend's friend was the secretary for Lou Lamoriello when he was the GM here. And we'd all get together and have some beers sometimes, and just the stories. It was kind of cool to hear, working for Lou, what that's like. Because every so often I would put out a tweet and I'd get a message from somebody within the Islanders realm or in media. Be careful what you say about Lou, but it's legit, man. People are very careful what they say about Lou Lamoriello. He could be watching this show right now.
Yeah, that's funny. He's his fingers extend throughout the game. He's one of those old school kind of legends in a lot of way with what he's done with the different organizations. You think Glenn Sather and Brian Burke in the same type of breath, those guys that have been around the block and made their mark and are kind of big personalities in the way they handle themselves. Lou's no different, that's for sure.
If Berkey asked me if I was drunk, I could only wonder what Lou Lamoriello would ask me or tell me. But Eric Martin's got an idea in support of Sick Hits. Thank you so much for the super chat. If you guys get Lou on the podcast, he would make Nick shave his beard. Very likely.
Yours is coming in thick, eh? That's not hard for you to get a playoff beard going. My goodness.
No, I've always got the beard cooking, but that's the problem. It gets to a point where I've got to maintain it or shave it or trim it. So we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Why don't you just rock it?
I think it just gets too long and bushy. Producer Vic can speak to it too. It gets to a level where it's just too much.
But it's the playoffs.
It's just uncomfortable.
Okay.
You can't call me out on that. You won't grow a beard.
Can't grow it, man.
Yeah, right.
Muskrat whiskers.
By the way, we suggested we were going to do something beard related for the Stanley Cup playoffs.
No, we didn't.
Rosie's response was, I don't think so.
It's because I don't think so.
And Rosie rules supreme here over at Leafs Morning Take. It's now time for the Crispy Hot Take of the Day, presented by the Ninja Crispy 4-in-1 Portable Glass Air Fryer.
Meet the Ninja Crispy Portable Cooking System, the power of a full-sized air fryer in the palm of your hand.
It is an all-in-one system that includes 4-quart, 6-cup Tupperware glass containers and 2 storage lids. The Ninja Crispy is thermal shock resistant and can go from frozen to crispy in minutes. With the Crispy Power Pod, you get the power of a full-size air fryer in the palm of your hands. The 4-quart container fits 4 pounds of chicken or veggies. By the way, Producer Vic, come on over. We got to get your hot take. Cook a personal-sized meal in 7 minutes in the 6-cup container. Max Crisp, bake, air fry, and re-crisp with the Ninja Crispy. You can prep, cook, and store anything from crispy favorites to one-dish meals. Visit their website and the link in the show description, and stay tuned for your chance to win a free Ninja Crispy. We got Producer Vic.
Let's go,
on
Vicky,
site.
baby!
This is the Leafs Morning Take crew on site for you. And Producer Vic has a scorching hot take for you today. Go ahead, Producer Vic.
All right. I'm going to, for the first time ever, I'm going to give you some why I made this the hot take. All right? All right, I'm going to take over the show a little bit.
Background with them.
All right.
I like it.
So the Ninja Crispy hot take today is that this is the biggest game in the 9 years of this core. And I will tell you why. It is because of how much we laughed at John Tavares for saying this team is close. We say he's close. We say they're close. We say they're close. Close to what? Close to what? That was your answer, right, Jay? Close to what? You go up 2-0 on the Stanley Cup champions and you put them on the brink. Now we start to think you're close. So that's why today's game is the biggest game in the last 9 years. Ninja Crispy hot take.
Who?
Drop the mic, damn it. No, that's a great take.
Spicy
Vicky.
hot.
I've got to concur, and thank you to producer Vic. We need him on air more often, and it's great to have everybody in person to deliver his hot take, his scorching hot take. But I'm going to agree with that, because how many learning lessons over the years, and now it's time to show what you have learned, Jason.
Yeah, I don't think that's that spicy Ninja Crispy of a hot take. I think that's
it's a pretty hot take.
I think that's a valid point to be made, and I get what John was saying. I always knew what John was saying, but I knew he also should have known better, and it probably pissed him off that he said it. And that's probably why his interviews are so bloody boring, because as soon as he goes off script a little bit, he gets torn apart. But, you know, when they're filling their pants and looking like they're a million miles away, you laugh at that statement, but then you watch them in game one and the corrections they've made, call it the coaching, call it the GM, call it a few fillers in, you know, the net or the D or some depth or a little bit more grit in the way they play. It's not the biggest tweak in the world, and it didn't take long for Tree to do it. And here they are, up one on the mighty Florida Panthers. And again, this game here could be the biggest in 9 years. You get them on their heels with a 2-0 sweep, and then you go and try to do what you can. In Florida, it's an absolutely a big one. Last game was a huge one, and then every game is just going to get bigger and bigger until someone wins this bloody series. I really think this one could be considered, like, I don't even want to say it right now because you get ahead of yourself, but this is a huge series.
Relish the underdog role. Just come out, be the same team that you were in game one. You're playing one of the best teams of all time. Brad Marchand's on this team. Ekblad's back. You got Bobrovsky. There's just so many layers. Play that underdog role, and I thought the Leafs did that here in game one. In support of Sick Kids, more super chats to get to. Tammy, thank you so much. Eyebrow notches instead of gnarly playoff beards. How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't have much for eyebrows.
We're the brows in person. I gotta get them
if
done
you
again.
notched your eyebrows, man, that would look like...
Did I tell you what happened recently? So you know I do my brows, right?
No.
So I go to a girl every 6 to 8 weeks to like maintain these puppies. But the great thing about it, like, I don't want people to notice that I do my brows. You just clean them up. But last time I almost got to a point, because YouTube gets to me so much. I see the chat. I see people chirping the brows. I was going to go thin with them. Imagine one day I showed up with like painted brows.
So those caterpillars you pay to maintain, hey? My goodness, beautiful,
dude, it's
beautiful
a lot of
things.
maintenance, a lot of work. A lot of work. Poor girl.
Hey, maybe racing stripes are in the future, man. That'd be a pretty good little playoff buzz, those caterpillars having some racing stripes on them.
Shout out to Nita. That's my girl, man. Just it's a tough job, man. She needs to block out 2 segments of her day to get the brows.
Sounds like a great relationship.
No, it's pretty easy, though. It's pretty easy, so I appreciate that. Eric Martin, next year's slogan, we are close.
I hope not.
I hate the slogans. Now We Go, I love, though.
Now We Go is the one. Now we go to nationgear.ca and pick up your Now We Go t-shirt for the playoffs.
Notches. That would be phenomenal stuff. And I heard whispers that you could be in the alumni box at some point tonight. Truth.
Yeah, we'll see. We're going to do a little watch party first and shake some hands, kiss some babies maybe, and watch the first period, and then head over to the alumni box and see what the crowd noise level is at. I know those Sportsnet mics don't pick that place up very good. Every time I get in there, it's electric, and you feel a pretty thorough electricity through the building, and I'm excited to see that again and see who's in the box and do a little networking for the show. Maybe I'll be the one getting some hot guests on next time.
Okay, Brandon N writes in, he's got Luigi Mangione brows. It's funny, last time I was in the States, this girl came up to me really, really attractive and said that I look like Luigi. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to look like a killer, but...
Which Luigi?
It's the guy who, like, what was he called? He killed the
he shot
exec.
the guy? Oh, okay.
Yeah, the age. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
He shot the, I don't know how to put it.
What do you say to that? Thank you.
Yeah, I was like, appreciate it. That's really, really bizarre. But somebody asking if I tread my brows, Crit Commander, I do not. Some hot wax. Do you want to read this super chat from KPG?
KPG Ninja hot take. The Leafs need to win this series without 16-34. Willie, Nyes, who the hell's Amulet, Wool, and the Decor have to do it. Well,
Nick equals CEO killer. The CEO killer. That's the guy.
CEO killer. Okay, great. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they did it with. I don't want to say without them. They do things. It's funny. Like you be a little bit hard on Marner after game 1, and you say like, I need to see more. Like you need to do what Willie did here at some point. We said that in game 5 of the Ottawa Senators series. We said it in game 6 of the Senators series. Didn't really see it from him. Game 1, people are like, well, he had a really good stick, and how about that block? Like we don't bring guys like that in that position to have a good stick and to make big blocks. You can get me to fucking do that. You need to do special things. You're a special player, and you got to do it at special times, just like Willie has been doing. And I'm gonna have my eyes on those two for sure tonight. They've got to pop off. I mean, Mitch can make these passes and spring guys for breakaways and find a seam and do things on the power play. Like, by all means, Mitch, please have your best stuff. And Austin, I need him to get one of those twisted wristers off and just bury it under the bar and roast Bobber clean and get some mojo going.
AK Nick looks like Harvey Lee Oswald. Somebody said you look like Nyes. Maxentius Decimus. Nick's eyebrows have their own gravitational pull, which is true.
Oh,
I was born with these puppies.
You guys are hurting Nick's confidence. You heard him.
Yeah, I know.
The chat
I'm never
going to
pick up again. Maybe this is why I lost last night.
Lost
on my date
in the game of love?
Yeah.
I'm sure you do that.
She rinsed me and everything. I was like, man, I suck.
Marner is no longer pregnant, so he is killing it. All right. Yeah, I mean, I've been around some hormonal women with pregnancies. It's not easy for them, and I hope it's not rubbing off on Mitch's game. He's ready, baby. He's a papa. He's ready. Come on. I need a big game out of one of those guys tonight. I don't want it to be the narrative anymore.
I disagree with Ray. I think Matthews has another level. This guy's missing empty netters by 3 feet now. There's just something cooking with this guy. There's something going on.
Can't read that, KPG.
Can't read that one. KPG, thank you for the super chat.
KPG, clean it up. Too funny.
Want to get in on the action for Stanley Cup playoffs at Bet365? They got you. From game props, player props, totals on the money line. You can even bet on futures like series winners, conference champions, the Stanley Cup champions, and much, much more. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. An official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connexontario.ca. Any plays you like tonight, Rosie?
Oh, well, I'm going back to the well with Leafs money line.
Yeah.
I want Mitch Marner over 1.5 points, and I want Big Pappy Daddy to have an ATG anytime goal. That's basically what I want to see, and that's going to be on my betting slip.
Is that going to happen?
I hope so. God damn, do I hope so. That would be perfect, man. Sweep the thing at home. Go to Florida with all the momentum and start fresh again, start over again, make those boys start thinking everything they've ever learned and questioning their abilities to beat the Maple Leafs. We didn't know if they could put them in that spot. They've gotten job 1 done, job 2 tonight.
I like Nylander ATG again, coming off another 3-point outing. That goes without saying.
Over-under?
I'm leaning towards the over. I think it's going to be chaotic again. I think there's going to be a lot of power plays. If you watch playoff hockey, game 1 to 3, there's a lot of penalties called, and they forget how to ref. Well, they learn how to ref, I would say, 4 to 7. So Nylander, ATG. At some point in time, Bob McMahon's going to score a goal, and I feel like he's getting better and better and more noticeable. I thought he was noticeable in game 6 against Ottawa. I thought he was extremely noticeable in game 1. Give me the McMahon ATG tonight, too. 18-game goalless shout for him.
That'd be great. That'd be great. You know who I want to see buzzing in any way, shape, form? I don't care if it's on the score sheet or not. Scott Lawton, show this town that you are their ticket, man. Be buzzing, be forechecking, turning pucks over, banging everything. And if you can bang a goal in, even better. I want to notice 24 tonight.
All right, folks. So if you're at Greta Bar YYZ, come see us tonight. OpenTable.ca, GretaBar.com, where you can book your reservations. And again, we're going to do the double shift here with Rosie because he's going to go down to Scotiabank Arena. If you see him plucking around there, if you're at the game, say hi. He won't have the alumni jacket on, but feeling good about life.
I don't know if I can wear
that. I really want to see this alumni jacket.
Like Wendell Tucker and me, like, somebody doesn't belong.
Like, dude, what are the chances? I'm going to be at the game. What are the chances they're like, hey, honorable guest, it's Jay Rosehill. And then you, like, wave to the camera. What would you do?
Who the hell is that guy? No, it'd be fun. Regardless, we're going to have fun tonight. If you do see me, give me a whistle, give me a holla back girl, and I'll give you a little 2-finger discount. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to it.
And last but not least, again, coming up at 6 Eastern time, we're going to have a full pregame show here at the upper level here at Greta Bar YZ. It's going to be me, Rosie, and Zach Phillips, and then Zach's going to have the Leafs Nation After Dark. So all systems covered, and of note, too, tomorrow, special start time because all three of us are traveling tomorrow. Vic and I are going to Florida, and you're going back home. But at 9 a.m. Eastern time, start time for tomorrow's show, and one of your former coaches is going to drop by. Dallas Aikens will drop by the set.
Dally, baby, looking forward to that. Yeah, I got to get on a jumbo jet, so we're moving the thing. Sorry, everybody. Hate to ruin your routine. It's a Thursday. I don't want to make you get up too early, but you should be up getting ready for your day anyways. Just pop that on a couple hours early. We appreciate it.
Well, the great thing is we're live on YouTube. You can also catch us like on replay on YouTube, in segments, and also podcasts, right?
Or just listen.
Everything.
Listen.
We're all covered. At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, Leafs Morning Take. Wherever you find your podcast, make sure to leave us a 5-star review, and don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. Thank you to producer Vic. For Jay Rosehill, I'm Nick Alberga. We'll talk tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.